Hello students, today we'll start induction motor. This class is important for 4th sem diploma electrical and electronic students. So let us know the classification of AC motors. As regards to the principle of operation, they are of synchronous and asynchronous type. So under asynchronous motors, induction motors lie. So induction motor are again of slip ring, that is single, double, squirrel cage type, commutator motors, compensated types and repulsion type. As regards to the types of current, they are of single phase and three phase type, and regards to their speed, they are of constant, variable and adjustable type of induction motor. And as regard to their structural features, they are of open, enclosed, semi enclosed, ventilated, pipe ventilated and reverted frame I type. Induction motor general principle. As a general rule, conversion of electric power into mechanical power takes place in the rotating part of the electric motor. In DC motors, the electric power is conducted directly to the armature through brushes and commutator. Hence, in this sense, DC motor can be called as conduction motor. However, AC motors, the rotor does not receive electric power by conduction but by induction in exactly the same way the secondary of a two winding transformer receives its power from the primary. This is why such motors are known as induction motors. In fact, an induction motor can be treated as a rotating transformer, that is one in which primary winding is stationary but the secondary is free to rotate. Of all the AC motors, the polyphase induction motor is one which is extensively used for various kinds of industrial drives. It has the following main advantages and some disadvantages. The main advantages are it requires minimum maintenance and its cost is low and it is very reliable. Now the main disadvantages are its starting torque is somewhat inferior to that of DC shunt motor and its speed cannot be varied without sacrificing some of its efficiency. Now let us discuss about its construction. The stator of an induction motor is in principle the same as that of a synchronous motor or generator. It is made up of number of stampings which are slotted to receive the windings. The stator carries three-phase winding and is fed from a three-phase supply. It is wound for a definite number of poles, the exact number of poles being determined by the requirement of speed. Greater the number of poles, lesser will be the speed and vice versa. It will be shown in the diagram 34.6 in the art. I am sorry, this is the art 34.6, not diagram, that the stator windings when supplied with three phase currents produces a magnetic flux which is of constant magnitude but which revolves at synchronous speed, that is equal to 120 f by p. This revolving magnetic flux induces an EMF in the rotor by mutual induction. Now the rotor, we have a squirrel cage type rotor and a phase wound type rotor. The motor employing this type of rotor are known as squirrel cage induction rotor motors, and the motors employing this type of rotor are variously known as phase wound motor or wound motors or as a slip ring motors. The diagram for a squirrel cage motor is as in your screen now, and almost 90% of the induction motor are squirrel cage type because of its motor has the simplest and most rugged construction and is almost indestructible. The rotor consists of a cylindrical laminated core with parallel slots carrying the rotor conductors, which it should be noted clearly are not wires but consist of heavy bars of copper, aluminum or alloys. One bar is placed in each slot. Rather, the bars are inserted from the end when semi-closed slots are used. The rotor bars are braced or electrically welded or bolted to two heavy and stout short circuiting end rings. Now, for the rotor slots are usually not quite parallel because it helps to make the motor run quickly by reducing the magnetic hump, and it helps in reducing the locking tendency of the rotor. The tendency of the rotor teeth to remain under the stator teeth due to direct magnetic attraction between the two. In small motor, another method of construction is used. It consists of placing the entire rotor core in a mold and casting all the bars and end rings in one piece. The metal commonly used in an aluminum alloy. Another form of rotor consists of an solid cylinder of steel without any conductors or slots at all. The motor operation depends upon the production of eddy currents in the steel rotor. Now, the phase wound type rotor. In this type of rotor, usually provides three-phase double layer winding distributed consisting of coils as used in an alternators. The rotor is wound for as many poles as the number of stator poles and is always wound three-phase even when the stator is wound two-phase. Now let us discuss about the frame. It is made up of closed grain alloy cast iron, stator and rotor core built from high quality low loss steel lamination and flash enameled on both sides. Stator and rotor windings having moisture proof tropical insulation, amber dyeing, mica and high quality varnish are carefully spaced for most effective air circulation and are rigidly braced to withstand centrifugal forces and any short circuit stresses. Air gap. The stator rabbets and bore are matched carefully to ensure uniformly of air gap. Shaft and bearing. Ball and roller bearings are used to suit heavy duty, trouble free running and for enhanced service life. Fans. Light aluminum fans are used for adequate circulation of cooling air and are securely keyed onto the rotor shaft. Slip ring and slip ring enclosures. Slip ring are made up of high quality phosphor bronze and are molded construction. Now the production of rotating field. Now students, this production of rotating field for a two-phase system, we will find that the magnitude of the EMF is equal to 1.5 times, because this derivation is not inside your course, you just need to know what is the magnitude of flux produced. So we conclude that the magnitude of resultant flux is constant and is equal to phi m. The maximum flux due to either phase and the resultant flux rotates at a synchronous speed given by ns is equal to 120 f by p. Now for three phase supply, this case was for two phase supply. Now we will study for this three phase supply. Here also you do not require the derivation part, you just have to know the conclusion. The conclusion is that the resultant flux produced by a three phase system is equal to 3 by 2 phi m or 1.5 times the maximum value of the flux due to any phase, and the resultant flux rotates around the stator at a synchronous speed given by ns is equal to 120 f by p. Now let us know why does the rotor rotates. So the reason for the rotor of an induction motor is set rotation is as follows. When a three-phase stator winding are fed by three-phase supply, then as seen from the above, a magnetic flux of constant magnitude but rotating at synchronous speed is set up. The flux passes through the air gap, sweeps past the rotor surface and so cuts the rotor conductors which as yet are stationary. Due to relative speed between the rotating flux and the stationary conductors, an EMF is induced. Now, due to the relative speed between the rotating flux stationary conductors, an EMF is induced in the latter. According to Faraday's laws of electromagnetic induction, the frequency of the induced EMF is the same as the supply frequency. Its magnitude is proportional to the relative velocity between the flux and the conductors, and its direction is given by Fleming's right hand rule. Since the rotor bars or conductors from a closed circuit, rotor current is produced whose direction is given by Lenge's law is such as to oppose the very cause which is producing it. In this case, the cause which produces the rotor current is the relative velocity between the rotating flux of the stator and the stationary rotor conductors. Hence, to reduce the relative speed, the rotor starts running in the same direction as that of the flux and tries to catch up the rotating flux, and the setting of the torque for rotating the rotor is explained. Now, student, let us understand slip. In practice, the rotor never succeeds in catching up the stator field. If it really did so, then there would be no relative speed between the two, hence no rotor EMF, no rotor current, and so no torque to maintain rotation. That is why the rotor runs at a speed which is always less than the speed of the stator field. The difference in speeds depends upon the load on the motor. The difference between the synchronous speed ns and the actual speed n of the motor is known as slip. Though it may be expressed in so many revolutions per second, yet it is usually to express it as a percentage of the synchronous speed. Actually, the term slip is descriptive of the way in which the rotor slips back from synchronism. And mathematically, slip is equal to, or percentage slip is equal to, ns minus n divided by ns, where ns is equal to synchronous speed, and the difference between ns minus n is called the slip speed. So in our next class we will discuss about the frequency of rotor current. So thank you for watching.